I'm Orgone and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making a piece called The Depths. This originally started out as a chakra balancing pyramid using the colors of the rainbow, but I made kind of a big mistake. I used alcohol inks, which are great, but I should have used epoxy resin. But I typically use polyester casting resin, and that's a big no-no with alcohol inks. And they didn't turn out to be the colors of the rainbow in the right order at all. I'm still going forward with this piece. I still like it, and I'm still going to go forward with this video, and I'm still going to sell the piece. But if you want to make this piece and you want to do the chakra balancing that I had intended to make, you're going to need to make an adjustment. You'll have to either use epoxy resin or you'll have to use a different colorant. And I suggest food coloring for candy. They say oil candy color on them. This one is by AmeriColor. And this one is by Chef Master, and they work great on polyester casting resin if that's what you have. So anyway, if you're interested in making this piece or seeing how it was made, stay tuned. We're going to get started right now. Okay, let's get started. So today I have a nice centerpiece to the pyramid that I'm going to be making, and this is a nice quartz crystal, and I have gone ahead and wire wrapped it in 18 gauge copper wire, and I'm going to be using polyester casting resin today. But if you're using epoxy resin, that's completely fine. It's just going to take you a little bit longer is all, but it will be just as fine. I'm also using alcohol inks by Let's Resin and two colors by Tim Holtz Ranger alcohol inks, and I will be using some brass shavings that I have. And yeah, that's pretty much all we need to get started. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pour the resin. Poured in my mixing cup, and I don't know how many drops are suggested for the hardening drops. I don't know how many is suggested, so all I know is that when I did use the suggested amount, it really wasn't enough for me. So I have since been using 9 drops to start and 9 drops for every ounce thereafter. And so I'm going to do probably 15 drops for this amount. And if you're using epoxy resin, you're going to want to stir this for at least 2 minutes to make sure that it's all mixed up. But if you're using the polyester casting resin, you really only need to stir it until it becomes clear, and then maybe a few moments thereafter. But the polyester casting resin mixes pretty quickly. I'm just going to pour that in my mold, all of it. And now I'm just going to set my crystal down in here. Just don't want that to fall. We're just going to let this congeal, and I will be back to do our first color. Okay, we're back, and our first layer has congealed, and I'm going to go ahead and pour the second layer of resin. Yeah, that's plenty. I put in 2 drops of the alcohol ink. Actually, I'm going to put an extra drop in there just to be sure. 3 drops. I'm just going to pour this in here. Yeah, I'm glad I used that 3rd drop of ink. And I'm going to just let this congeal, and I will be back to do our layer of blue. Okay, so we're doing the blue layer. Okay, so it's time to do our green layer. And our next layer is going to be a nice thick layer of brass. So I'm going to wait for this to harden or congeal, and we'll be back to do that layer of brass. Okay, so this has hardened and it's time for us to demold it and see what we have. These are not the rainbow colors that I had thought that they would be. Purple turned out to be pink, red turned out to be orange, orange turned out to be red, and yellow turned out to be red. And I got some kind of sticky mark on the edges, so I'm not as pleased with this piece as I had hoped I would be, but it's still beautiful and it's still got that great crystal in the middle, and I'm still gonna sell it, but it just is odd how the colors turned out to be not what they were promising they would be, especially that purple. I used to use my candy colors for food coloring for colors, and I'm gonna have to go back to that if I want the actual colors. These are not what they had promised they would be, so I'm a little disappointed. But I am still gonna stick the feet on like is supposed to go. I use cabinet dampening bumpers for feet. I can't really sell this as a chakra piece because the colors don't match. I don't know what I'm gonna call this now. Well, I'll have to think on it. But that is our piece. And you can see the little smudge marks that came in the middle. I don't know what caused that, because the resin was hardened when I pulled it out, so I don't know why it's made those marks. Oh well, Well, anyway, thank you for joining me on this. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining me on making this video. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. It makes me super happy when you do that. Also, subscribe to my channel for more inspiration on new Orgonite projects. And if you'd like to be made aware of new projects as they come out, hit that notification bell. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I'm Orgone Nick, and have yourself a wonderful day.